before we get to the AFC game between the Jags and the Patriots, take a quick peek at the bracket and how we got to this point in time here, Buck.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we expected the Patriots to be there. I think it was kind of a given. We thought they would be the number 1 seed. They would be there. But the Jacksonville Jaguars beat a game in a very, very tough Buffalo Bills team, come back, and they end up smashing a Pittsburgh Steelers team, even though it got tight. And here they are in the championship round. The Blake Bortles-led Jacksonville Jaguars taking on TB12 and company. It should be a very, very exciting game to watch.
Both of us have been riding the Jags train here all the way to the AFC Championship game. Our buddy Damashek trying to give us a hard time there for picking the Jags last week.
Come on, man. We knew it. His team wasn't – they weren't thinking about the Jaguars. They were thinking about the Patriots.
Yeah, they're looking ahead. Anyways, let's jump into this game right now. Jags and Patriots. When I look at this game from the Patriots standpoint, you try and say, okay, they will win this game and advance to the Super Bowl if, to me, the most important thing, protect the football. This Jags defense energizes their offense. When they can get points on defense, which we saw in 2 games against Pittsburgh this year they were able to do, and then also just give you a short field with turnovers, and that gives the offense confidence to get rolling. So if you're the New England Patriots, you want the Jacksonville Jaguars offense to have to travel 80, 75, 85, 90. You want to keep them in a long field. You do not want to give them a short field. You've got to protect the football. That is the most important aspect in this game if you're the New England Patriots.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it play out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got those 2 turnovers. They got an early interception. Miles Jack picked off one right there. And then Telvin Smith with a scoop and score. You think about that's 14 points
Boom.
For the Jacksonville Jaguars. For a team that the offense just kind of plays a complementary role. You're trying to protect the quarterback, not put him in harm's way. Yes, the defense is the driving force of that team. So if you're the Patriots, I absolutely believe that you're doing ball security drills all week. You don't want to give the Jaguars any life, and you don't want to give them short fields.
All right, let's flip it over to the Jags here. They end up going to the Super Bowl if they do what?
If they run the ball. If Leonard Fournette has an outstanding attack, if he has an outstanding performance on the ground, if they run the ball and they can play defense. This is a game where I think you are trying to limit the amount of possessions that are in the game. Control the clock. I think we're playing turtle offense, meaning slow it down, keep away offense from the start. And you want to have an opportunity to really pound the New England Patriots up front. This is a team that they do a great job of playing defense from the 20 in. But there are some vulnerabilities, particularly if you're able to run the ball and kind of establish it. Blake Bortles has to throw off play action. He's most effective when he does that. To do that, you have to be able to get number 27 going. And I know he had an ankle injury against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but anyone who watched that game saw in the first quarter, he was the dude. And he was able to set the table, made it easy for Blake Bortles to get comfortable. If they can have that kind of success against the Patriots, it gives them the best opportunity to win this game.
And you know the Patriots are going to be forced on trying to take that away.
They're going to take it.
They're going to take it away with the Titans.
They're going to stuff the box. They're going to put everybody in there, and they're going to dare number 5 to make plays. This is a game where Blake Bortles is going to have to make plays in the passing game. He will ultimately be the deciding factor in this contest.
No question. All right, X factors in this game. Why don't you give me one here for the Jags?
Barry Church. Whenever you're dealing with the New England Patriots, you have to control the middle of the field. And the middle of the field, not only by being able to stop the run and not let them get off, but the middle of the field in the passing game. When you look at Tom Brady does the bulk of his work inside the numbers. The Jacksonville Jaguars do a lot of cover one lurk coverage where they have a free safety hanging in the hole. You have to have someone that can discourage Tom Brady from throwing over the middle of the field. The other part of the equation is someone has to be able to punish number 87. Rob Gronkowski is going to get the ball. He's going to get 10 to 12 targets each week. But what you have to do is you have to make him pay. Someone has to beat him up. Someone has to bruise him. Someone has to make sure that every time he catches it, he takes a big lick. Barry Church has to be that guy because I don't think you can stop him, but you certainly can make him pay taxes every time he crosses the middle of the field.
I like that, pay taxes. I'm going to go over to the Patriots side of things. You mentioned Gronk. I'm going to say Dion Lewis can be an X factor, your guy Dion Lewis. And I'll show you what I talk about when you watch the tape here, especially for this Patriots offense down in the red zone. They find ways to get him the football. This is a classic pick play here. It isn't even an effective pick. They try and run a rub route here. They get him leaked out in the flat. Everybody in the league runs this. It doesn't get much of a rub from Amendola, but look at the tight window. Brady still fits it in. You end up getting a nice chunk of yardage there to make it a very manageable third down using Dion Lewis in the red zone. Now you're going to see an example again in the red zone. You're going to see a Tampa 2 coverage here with the middle linebacker trying to get back to that deep middle, and they're going to try and bracket Gronk because they know in the red zone that's where the ball goes. So they're bracketing him. Look at all this real estate that leaves Deion Jones to work in. And Tom Brady is always going to take those checkdowns when they present themselves, and you end up getting a first down. So you get down the red zone, a lot of times you think big, physical tight end. Be aware of the back coming out of the backfield as well.
You always have to be aware of their backs. It's not only Deion Lewis. You have to talk about James White. And then word on the street is Rex Burkhead could be back. You can expect those running backs to be major factors, not only as runners, but as receivers. That is how Tom Brady prefers to go about his business.
And that'll be a fun matchup. Those athletic Jaguar linebackers going up against these running backs for the New England Patriots. I'll be honest with you, Buck, when you look at this on paper, this Jags team stacks up very, very well against this Patriots offense. But then I just come back to two things. One, James Garoppolo. I saw Mr. James Garoppolo kind of carve this team up a little bit. And then the second thing I come back to is I have a hard and fast rule. Never doubt Tom Brady in the postseason.
Oh, come on.
Who you like?
I mean, what fun is it if you don't doubt TB12 and the Patriots? I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars here just because of some of the reasons that you pointed out. Of all the teams that are in the tournament that can deal with the Patriots, the Jaguars are best suited to do it. You talk about a pass rush that can get there with 4, but more importantly, they can get there inside up the middle with Tom Brady. You have corners on the outside that can lock up the receivers, and I believe you have an X factor in that secondary in terms of Jalen Ramsey. Look for him maybe to take on the challenge of dealing with Rob Gronkowski. I think that could be critical. On offense, if they're able to run the ball, and Blake Bortles just makes a handful of plays, doesn't give to the other team, I think the Jaguars can go on the road and win one, and they are better prepared because they practiced against this team for a couple days in August. I think that gave them a lot of confidence in this matchup.
Yeah, look, again, I think this is a great matchup.
Come on, go out on a limb.
To watch. I've been riding that Jags train with you the whole time.
Come on, go out on a limb.
And this is where I say,
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Sir, I get off here. This is where I get off. I get off in Foxborough. That's my stop. Yeah, I'm taking the New England Patriots. I don't bet against Tom Brady in the postseason, Buck. It's just philosophy.
7 straight.
Yeah, I don't mess with that dude, man. He's a bad dude. All right, let's before we move on to the next game here, let's go to our Ford offensive line of the week, which kind of puts a nice bow on this preview. This is something that our good friends at Ford do. NFL.com/Ford. Sean O'Hara writes a piece each and every week. We got to hand out the award. I assume we're going to go with the Jags after what they did against the Steelers, right?
We have to go with the Jags. And, man, if not for a Leonard Fournette ankle injury, they may have rushed for another 200-plus yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They mauled the Pittsburgh Steelers at the point of attack. And this is who they are. This is their identity. The Jaguars wanted to be a physical team, a team that could put their hands on you, and they showed that against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They dominated this game. And I know the score is very, very tight, and it was 45-42, so it looked like a shootout. But at the heart of this game, it was about the Jaguars running the ball down the Pittsburgh Steelers' throat, and they did not have an answer.
By the way, Jalen Ramsey, sweet coat.
You like that?
That was nice.
You like that? I think Tom Coughlin has made those guys clean up a little bit. When you're on the road, you got to wear suit and tie, suited and booted. That's what the Jaguars were.
It was a clean look. I liked it. All right, the Jags, they're our offensive line of the week presented by the Ford F-Series. Let's flip it over to the NFC, and as we look at the bracket and what's took place here, Buck, a pretty intriguing playoffs so far there on the NFC side of things.
Yeah, pretty intriguing playoffs. It actually has played out pretty much chalk except for the Atlanta Falcons moving on. When you look at the two teams that are left, these are the two best teams in the NFC. We thought that for the entire year. They deserve to be there, and the fact that they're able to play without their starting quarterbacks speaks volumes about the way their teams were constructed. I'm excited to see what plays out in the championship game.
All right, let's jump into this one here. I'll start us off with the Eagles. They're going to advance to the Super Bowl if, to me, the big thing in this game, protecting Nick Foles. I know a lot of people are going to point to the fact you got to run the football. Both these teams run it well, but they're also excellent at stopping the run, which is going to put the ball in the hands of the quarterback. So, to me, Nick Foles, if you can keep him protected and keep him upright, I think you'll see him get the ball to the Zach Ertzes. You'll see that matchup with Xavier Rhodes going up against Alshon Jeffrey. You'll see some things happen there. But none of that's going to happen if you can't keep Everson Griffin off his back. So this is going to be a big game. Vi, the big left tackle, played great against the Atlanta Falcons. He needs to take his game even to another level this week against the Minnesota Vikings.
I absolutely agree. I believe Nick Foles has to be protected. I believe they got to get him in his comfort zone. They found a way to get him in his comfort zone, throwing those slants, throwing some screen passes, eventually working off play action. By the end of this game, he looked like the Nick Foles that played a few years ago that had 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. If they can build upon this performance, he absolutely can have a very, very good game against a very good Minnesota Vikings team. For me, I flip it on the other side. I think the Minnesota Vikings reach the Super Bowl if Case Keenum takes care of the ball. It is all about turnovers in these big games, and Case Keenum has done a great job of leading this offense. And to be honest, he has two playmakers. There you see Adam Thielen, you see Stephon Diggs being able to make plays. They are able to do it. But it's all about these rainbows. 50-50 throws. He puts the ball up there, and he trusts his guys to get it. I've said there's been a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We just need to make sure that he can keep the leprechaun away for another week. If he does it, we will see the Minnesota Vikings play a home game in Super Bowl 52.
I got a trivia question for you here. The song "Pocket Full of Rainbows." Can you tell me who sang that?
Man, I don't know that song.
You got to go back. Sully, anybody back there behind the glass? We might have some. I guarantee we got somebody back there that knows what this is. Pocket full of rainbows. I got a pocket full of rainbows.
No way. No idea.
Elvis.
Is that Elvis?
Yes.
I should be ashamed being a Tennessee native.
Golly.
Elvis, yeah.
Disappointed.
I definitely.
Disappointed in
man.
all of you back there.
That's
it was in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
That
that
song
movie
was in
since
Jerry.
it
I
came
believe
out.
that song was in Jerry Maguire. Look that up, Sully, as we march on. Here.
Yep.
I believe that song was in Jerry Maguire.
I got you.
All right, thank you. All right, let's get to the X factors here in this game. Buck, why don't you start us off with your X factor?
All right, if I told you that Case Keenum needs to take care of the ball, the best way to protect him is to give it to the running back. Latavius Murray needs to add balance to this offense. I want to have a 50-50 game plan. I would like to see Latavius Murray have 20 or more rushing attempts, because if they can run the football effectively, now my man Case Keenum can throw when the terms are and conditions are favorable, meaning he can throw on early downs against single high defenses with 8 men stacked in the box. He doesn't have to worry about split field coverage. He can go and attack those guys when they're one-on-one on the outside, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. But the key to doing it is having Latavius Murray play at a Pro Bowl level. I think people forget he was a Pro Bowl player. He is showing it as this season goes on. He is a viable option in this offense. He is someone who can kind of be a driving force if he gets it going very, very early.
He's such a good running back, but man, he runs high, Buck.
He does run upright, but that's who he is. He's very much like Brandon Jacobs was. They kind of run straight up and down like a little pencil, but they find a way to get it done.
All right, I'm going to go with my X factor. I mentioned him just a little bit earlier, Alshon Jeffrey. And going back and watching that game, he was not on the same page with Nick Foles previously. In this game against the Atlanta Falcons, they did get on the same page. And I thought one of the keys to their success in that game was the spacing of this offense. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here with a couple plays. You're going to see him spread the field here. This is an RPO, which Nick Foles really just kind of doesn't even read it. He just bails on the run because the linebackers are going to get out of there. He probably should have gave the ball. But watch him pull up here, and now you see the spacing. They spread sideline to sideline. Selleck takes a nice inside release to take the eyes away from inside coverage, and Alshon Jeffrey gets a layup. Now you're going to see him go 3-by-1. Alshon Jeffrey singled up on the bottom. Look at his split, gets tighter split, so he's got some room to operate, and then even gets more room as he takes an inside release, and then really physical at the top of the route. And look at the separation and how easy of a throw this is for Nick Foles. You don't get separation like that at this point in the postseason without good spacing and good route running. Alshon Jeffrey can give him those layups. Again, I think this game comes down to the quarterbacks. The run games are a wash. They try and take those away. Nick Foles, Alshon Jeffrey, that's got to be a matchup that's working for the Eagles.
It has to be that matchup. They have to be able to get it done. And ultimately, it's funny that you say it comes down to the quarterback, because I asked somebody as I was walking up to the podcast studio, if we're playing in the park, which quarterback would you want? Would you want Case Keenum or Nick Foles? Because ultimately, this championship game is going to be decided by how each of those guys perform.
No question. All right, let's get to the pick here. Who do you like, Buck? You've been riding the Vikings for a while.
I love the Vikings. I love the way the Vikings play. I think I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings again. And the reason I'm going to go with the Vikings, I just believe their defense is just a smidge better than the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to say that Case Keenum finds some more gold at the end of those
some more of those rainbows.
I mean, like, he can't get a bigger pot than he had the last game. But maybe he can find a way to expand it a little bit. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, I believe the wide receivers of the Vikings have a little advantage over the corners, and that's going to be all the difference.
Well, look, I think it's going to be a great game. Look at this. I was leaning towards the Vikings when I first started looking at this matchup, and then
hit the horn. Hit the horn.
What? No. I'm not changing.
You do it?
I'm not changing. I'm going to stick with the Philadelphia Eagles, and here's one of the reasons why. This defensive line, both these defensive lines are outstanding. What an advantage, though, to be at home. Get that crowd noise cranked up a little bit. get off the ball. When you look at those guys inside to outside, and let me give you the name. I didn't use him as my X factor, but here's my name to watch in this game. Can we mark the tape? Mark the tape here. Chris Long.
Chris Long.
Chris Long.
Did Chris Long play last week?
He didn't do anything last week. That's why I'm saying, Mark, this is a bold take. Chris Long in big games, remember in the Super Bowl last year?
He did.
He finds a way in these big moments to make a play. I'm just telling you, Chris Long, write that down.
You
Big play
nailed
coming.
last week. Josh Hill.
He had a couple big plays in that game.
Big plays down in the stretch too. A couple big plays in the big spot. So nailed that one.
All right, I'm going with the Eagles. You're going with the Vikings. It's going to be a fun one to watch there at the link. Looking forward to that one.